Good morning and welcome to Saturday's special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Indian Army is the third largest army in the world, and it is on a spree to enhance its capabilities, its striking power, its forays into robotics and formatics. At the same time, it is finding ways to save money and also is playing a pivotal role in nation building. I was pleasantly surprised that the Indian Army has a game-changing proposal. It is now a very state institution built on the lines of the British Army, monolith, without any capability of changing course. Very disciplined, but very, very prosaic, has come up with this game-changing plan. I think in this, the new office of the Chief of Defence Services, CDS, who coordinates all the three branches of the Army, Air Force and Navy, must have played a pivotal role. And I'm sure if this proposal is accepted by the politicians, it would go a long way in making Indian Army a citizens' army, the way Israeli forces are. The integration between the army and the civilian, especially at the top echelons, will be an established fact. And there would be no antipathy, no confrontation between army and the civilian bureaucrats, as it usually happens. Let's not deny that there is always, never mentioned, but a clear hostility, though they might profess utmost professional courtesy. And the 3-year army service game-changing plan would now allow civilians to work for 3 years army and then come back to the civilian force. It will allow civilians, including young working professionals, to join forces for 3 years as officers, as well as in other ranks. And that would enhance the capabilities, especially in the area, the sectors like logistics and frontline formations. Now you might consider that why should it happen? The proposal envisages taking personnel from A, paramilitary and central forces up to 7 years. Now India has a plethora of forces. Apart from the army, there are paramilitary forces like BSF, CRP, CIIS, IF, ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, and so on and so forth. And they work side by side, but there is no interaction. Now, if this proposal is accepted by the government, the officers of the paramilitary and the central armed forces would be allowed to serve in the army for 7 years and then return back to the organization. The benefit: the paramilitary forces would be able to understand the army tactics, and when they come back, they'll be able to employ them, thereby making them more successful in hunting and destroying anti-national and terrorist forces. This is something really great, because the military would not have to be called upon for everything. Now, for every small incident, army has to step in, and that's not always a healthy sign. The interaction with the civilians is best left to police and paramilitary forces. So, these paramilitary forces will be able to imbibe capability, strategy, and methodology of army and employ it in the best interest of the nation. Not only that, This game-changing plan further allows civilian workers to work up to 3 years, and if approved, it will be voluntary engagement and there will be no dilution in the selection criteria. You will be selected only if you are fit mentally and physically. Initially, about 100 officers and 1,000 ORs are being considered for recruitment. And age and fitness will be among the key criteria for recruitment. And it's being called the tour of duty or 3 years short service commission. Let's not deny that there has been a resurgence of nationalism and patriotism in India after the new government came in power in 2014. The people were galvanized by the rousing speeches and the action, whether it was sending the mission to the Mars, whether it was firing 104 satellites at one time, whether it was a surgical strike destroying a terrorist base in Pakistan, or whether it was a bullet for bullet policy adopted. This did create a surge of nationalism, and the sound of Vande Mataram, salute to the motherland, reverberated across the streets. Now, this would tap the feeling of the youth who do not wish to join the army as a profession, but they are very desirous to experience military life for temporary duration. So, this proposal would meet the aspirations of that set of society, which is patriotic, but doesn't want to make army a career. There is no denying the fact that even now, Indian Army is recruiting officers under short service commission. It used to be 5 years, then it came to 7 years, and now the SSC, short service commission, is for an initial tenure of 10 years, which can be extended up to 14 years. And the people who are recruited under a new scheme, the toward duty, will be eligible to be deployed as combatants in the key forward position, and there will be no restriction on their role. And this is something those people from the private sector and the public sector who go there would imbibe the sense of discipline, which is a imperative need of the country. That's undeniable. And the benefit to the army would be it will gain the expertise developed by the private sector without spending anything. You cannot deny that the robotics, informatics, artificial intelligence, and logistics, these are very strongly developed disciplines in the civilian life. And when the people from these disciplines go to the army, they will definitely be contributing a lot to the armed forces without their spending money, because they will be experienced and they'll be able to implement the latest technologies, the latest methodologies in their work, thereby strengthening the capability of the armed forces to strike and to protect themselves. So, that being said, there is another huge benefit to the army, and that is the financial benefit. We have seen that Indian armed forces have been on a spending spree for the equipment, and their result is, the result of the spending spree is that the personnel are sacrificed. Are you aware that the cumulative approximate cost of pre-commission of the armed forces is approximately 5 to 6.83 crores per officer? to recruit an officer at National Defence Academy, including expense for extending testing at UPSC, selection, then the training at Kharagwasla, then the training at IMA, Dehradun, and then deployment. Cost from 5.12 to 6.83 crores per officer. And if she or he is released at the end of 14 years. The similar cost for these people would be about 80 lakhs each. So a minimum saving of 5 crores per head. Now if 100 people are being recruited in the first instance, so is 500 crores saved. If it is 1,000, is 5,000 crores saved. And money saved is money gained. Let's not deny it. The old Scottish proverb, a penny saved is penny gained. Now 50 to 60% of the short service commission officers get permanent commissions. And the cost of retention till they are 54 years old, the retirement age, is too high. The saving for only 1,000 soldiers could be ultimately 11,000 crores that has been calculated, because it's not only the training part, which is 6 crores, but the cumulative expenses, the pensions, the benefits, free rations, subsidized commodities and everything in the CDS. So that money of 11,000 crores per year can be used for modernization of the armed forces. And the strengthened army is helpful for the young people in getting jobs in the corporate sector and the government sector. When they have the disciplined mind, there's a mindset in India that the veterans make better officers and better workers and better professionals, because they are attuned to work. So it's a question of saving in money, promoting discipline in the civilian life, and army getting better professionals as and when needed without spending extra on their training. Now that is as far as the inner part is concerned. How is it going to affect Indian Army performance vis-a-vis the neighbors? Let's not forget that India should not need this large army but for the perpetual danger from Pakistan and China. It has fought 4 wars with Pakistan, 1 war and dozens of strong battles with China. And now the Nepal is a festing sore. So that issue makes the Indian Army acquire latest technology, latest armament, latest equipment, and latest human resources. Those resources which are adept in those disciplines which are not fully utilized are being utilized in the armed forces. Our aircraft and our ships need very, very capable engineers. And if these engineers who are, say, working in the aviation sector go for 3 years over there, they will be the trainers for the others, or they will be the igniting spark for the working officers in those forces. And when they come back, they will be better themselves as disciplined soldiers. How would Pakistan take it? Naturally, they cannot be accidental affair. But it might also make them think on the same lines. Now, the benefit to the nation is that we are going to save a lot of money and have trained officers. Now, every 3 years, a new batch comes back. Every 3 years. That means in a period of 10 years or a decade, the whole country's working class, by working class I mean the age up to 50, would be fully trained armed forces professionals. And that's why I call it, it will be citizens' army as the Israeli army is. And that's what makes Israeli invincible. This section of the Indian army, this proposal rather, of the Indian armed forces is crucial. I hope that the government of India doesn't turn it down. You never know how the bureaucrats think. They can be intelligent, they are intelligent, but their own desire to retain the supremacy might make them turn down because they lose their clout if the army becomes preponderantly independent. But the political leadership, I'm sure, is much more open now, much more capable of taking such a decision in the interest of the country. Whatever it might be. This is the first time the Indian Armed Forces have come up with such an ingenious proposal to strengthen the army, strengthen this technical base, enhance the capabilities, as well as strengthen the moral and the discipline fiber in the civil service. This is what I call it a game-changing plan which needs to be implemented without any further delay. Think about it. Thank you.